Well, we are welcoming now our two-time Super Bowl champ, Bryant McFadden, and our senior NFL insider, Josina Anderson.
Yes.
We are one day closer to Super Bowl 56, and you got to think what we've seen Cooper Kupp do for the Rams this season. It has been historic. This season, covering the Triple Crown, I want to get these numbers right, becoming the first player since 2005 to lead the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. You hear these numbers, you see the stats. B-Mac, what makes him so dynamic?
He's the ultimate football player. He happens to have a position, but he's a football player first. You look at how they utilize him in the running game. You don't usually see wide receivers get dirty in blocking, in the concepts of blocking, but he attacks that feat just like he attacks being a wide receiver. And Sean McVay and their staff, they do a great job in scheming him to be open. You look at how they move him around the football field. He has option routes that he can utilize against any defender, and then when you combine that with his athleticism and just the hard work that he puts forth day in and day out, I'm not surprised to see these numbers. I mean, he's a guy, like I said, he happens to have a position, but he's the ultimate football player, and he attacks every ball game like it's his last.
I think what stood out to me in just listening to Cooper Kupp and even how people were talking about Cooper Kupp in the press conferences here at the Super Bowl was just his attention to detail. And that is something that I've heard him speak about and others speak about him, even OBJ, in admiring just how he's been playing throughout this postseason as I've covered him. And I wanted to go to a quote from head coach Zach Taylor of the Bengals, who obviously coached Cooper Kupp when he was with the Rams. And he said it's the fact that Coop's a big picture thinker, so he really understands the structure of defenses, the nuances of route running, and he also understands run concepts as well. And one thing he said is that oftentimes you would screenshot pictures of the defense, send them to me, and I would wake up in the morning and see these ideas from Cooper Kupp in terms of how he would like to improve the offense. So I think that really speaks to how much he's thinking about not just himself and how he can improve, but all facets of the offense as well.
Showing he's a real student of the game.
No question.
Another guy really impressing, Odell Beckham Jr. It's a Cinderella story. I think the kids call it a glow up, right? He went from the Giants, and now in his 8th season, he's in his first Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, and the thing that you really hear from Odell Beckham Jr. is him talking about how much more at peace he is. When I think about covering him since his rookie year with the Giants and after the big catch and all of the drama and the attention that followed with that, his just trajectory in terms of his stardom, all of that impacted his experience with the Giants, right? But after going through that and really just settling into the impending fatherhood, having to go to Cleveland, not really, for his will, against his will, being traded there, quite frankly, and then facing all of the drama, leaving Cleveland, everything with Baker Mayfield, is he being targeted? Is he not? Did he choose the right destination? And when people thought he should have gone to Green Bay, because how's he going to fit in with the trio with the Rams, or should he have gone somewhere else? Well, we could talk about Tampa Bay. That's another story. He proved everybody wrong by the fact that he is here and he has been productive in terms of his touchdowns and everything else.
Yeah, and the thing about this situation with OBJ, deciding to come to L.A., it was like the football guys was ready to reward him in doing so, because unfortunately they lost Robert Woods. But with that injury, it provided the window of opportunity for OBJ to show all of us that he is still OBJ, and he has really took advantage of those opportunities, and he has really flourished in this offense. And they do a great job. Sean McVay, he does a great job in putting his guys in positions to be successful, and that's why he's the ultimate team coach. He's a player's coach. Players respect coaches that try to make sure that they're successful, and they do it in a respectful way. So I just applaud OBJ in taking this advantage and having fun. That's the most important thing about football. It's a child's game. Have fun, laugh, joke, enjoy yourself. He wasn't enjoying himself in Cleveland. He wasn't getting targeted, not to mention the weather is bad. So if you're not getting targeted, you're not winning ball games, and it's cold, that is a tough situation to be in. Instantly when he got out here, look at the sunshine. He was smiling
lead to success?
instantly.
The more fun you're having,
yes.
It seems to just go hand in hand.
Anytime you're supposed to be doing a job that you get paid for, and if you're doing it with a frown on your face, you're not enjoying yourself. Look at us. We're working right now. We're working, but we're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you have that type of spirit, it provides a different type of energy, and that's what we're seeing from Odell Beckham Jr.
And then the other thing I just wanted to say, too, is that, and I have to keep rewinding back to his final days in Cleveland and some of the comments that were being made at that time as far as Odell not being in the right position, so that's why he wasn't getting the ball, or because of the Browns offense having to do with rhythm and timing or what happened. Well, here's some breaking news for you, and I'm sure you know about this. Open is open. How about that?
Yes.
Open is open.
Yes.
Open is open. Herm Edwards might have something to say about that after 12 o'clock, but open is open. And so for him to come here and Sean McVay use his offensive prowess and mastery of calling plays to integrate him with multiple people. And then you talk about the great fortune of Robert Woods getting injured the day that he arrives in L.A. And what really would the scenario be if Robert Woods was still a part of this offense? But for them to continue to rise, stay humble while Cooper Kupp is trying to attain this historic feat and then wait his turn and then surely show up in games where he had to.
Yeah.
I want to take you guys back to September, talking about wide receiver Jamar Chase. I want to read some of the headlines. I did a Google search back to September.
Okay.
Bengals, Jamar Chase has insane reason for drops. The ball is different. Also, Jamar Chase bust watch on high alert after 4 drops, 1 catch in the preseason. It is clear he has come such a far way from that. How?
He's just a football player. Once again, the same thing that I said about Cooper Kupp. He happens to have a position. Jamar Chase happens to have a position, which is the wide receiver spot. But he goes about his business in such a professional way. But are we surprised? Go back in time, 2019, that prolific team that he was a part of at LSU. He was unstoppable. Joe Burrow was unstoppable. Justin Jefferson was unstoppable. They all were unstoppable. And when they got drafted to the National Football League, the same mentality they displayed there in Baton Rouge, they're showing us right now. And I look at Jamar Chase, I compare him to a guy I played against my rookie year who gave me a lot of hell, and that was Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith was a guy who was so electric, very, very professional in running his routes, and he always had the it factor. He didn't blow you away when you watched him, but he was able to create separation because he had football speed, and that's what we're seeing from Jamar Chase and the connection that he has with Joe Burrow. I mean, it's like they're best friends on and off the football field, and when you're around your best friend, you're happy. You know it's going to be a great day when your best friend is in town because we're going to have fun together, and that's what they're doing right now on the football field, and because of that, they're getting ready to play in the biggest game of their life, and he's just the ultimate pro. I love watching him. I wouldn't want to defend him, but right now as a fan of the game, I love watching him, and because he does it the right way.
You know what's interesting about the drops, because people were talking about, as you mentioned very astutely, that there were 4 drops in the preseason, but they were only on 18 plays, and 3 of them were with Joe Burrow. So that's why it was such a concern, because it was on such a small sample size on top of the total of it being 4. And then when he was asked about why that was occurring, I think you could tell that he was being very thoughtful about it. Not just because he had taken off the previous year, which, you know, you're rusty, you're not in your flow. But he was acknowledging that he wasn't particularly focused with his eyes when the ball was coming his way, that he even used the word lazy with his eyes, and that he had to adjust his body to be still when the ball is coming to him. So it's not just the recognition, but also the willingness to evolve and make sure that, now you become the winningest rookie in history with all of your production and what have you. So kudos to him. And then I think the last thing I just want to say really quickly is that his wide receivers coach said that he's basically the undiva. So when you think about all these glamorous wide receivers that have been out here,
they're known to be divas.
Terrell Owens, we got Chris Carter. I mean, and colorful. We don't even want to say that in a negative way, but the ball's coming to them. He says that he's an undiva. The fact that he doesn't change no matter whether the game is up or down. So I think it's that consistency also, and not getting too big within himself that has allowed this production as well.
No doubt.
Well, talking about T. Higgins, he had over a 100-yard AFC Championship game. There's only one ball. I mean, the wide receivers, the tight ends, I mean, how do they distribute so well? Can his production be replicated here in the Super Bowl?
And you know what's interesting? When you go and look at Tyler Boyd's production, and this is a guy that was a 1,000-plus receiver prior to the arrival of Jamar Chase, and that was also with another quarterback in Andy Dalton. So he's been there 5 seasons with the Bengals. So I think the fact that he's still getting 800 receiving yards in his last 2 years shows just the fact that he has a skill set within his own right right?
Yep.
In addition to, Higgins, and by the way, that guy with the last name Chase. So I think that that's really good, and he's willing to assimilate and also obviously get acclimated to another quarterback.
And the thing I like about T. Higgins, I love this game coming out of Clemson. I thought he had an opportunity to be an outstanding pro, and he's definitely going in that direction. But he takes advantage of the opportunity. So what happened against Kansas City was Kansas City said, you know what, Jamar Chase, you're not going to beat us. Remember the first meeting a few weeks ago in Kansas City, in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase just had a video game-like game against Kansas City. You're not going to beat us. Number one will not beat us. Someone else has to answer the call. T. Higgins said, you know what, I'm here. I will answer. And Joe Burrow trusts T. Higgins just like he trusts Tyler Boyd. The thing that they have going on with the wide receivers, either guy is okay if I'm not the guy, as long as we're being productive and winning ball games. And you talked about not being a diva. They don't have any diva-ish going on in that wide receiver room because they applaud whoever in that number is getting called for that particular ball game. And against Kansas City, guess what, T. Higgins? It was his time.
There's going to be some dogs out there on the field, everyone playing their heart out. B-Mac, you already mentioned it. The guy you do not want to cover is Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So are you like chirping in his ear? How do you break him? If you were out there covering him, what adjustments do you have to make?
Number one thing about playing the game of football, especially playing on the defensive side, we would never ask for help. I don't care if I have a guy I know I might not cover. I can't go to my coach and say, Coach, I need a little help. Somebody got to help me. But in my mind, I might be like, situational moments in the ball game, I may need a little help because he's that type of player. But most importantly, you got to try to rough him up. He's a big physical guy, but you don't want to allow him to have a free range to get into his route. You got to be disruptive at the line of scrimmage. You got to touch him when he's not getting the football. Running plays. Most wide receivers don't like to block. Go bring the game to him. Make it a physical game so now he's thinking more than reacting. When he's reacting and just flowing and smiling, he's having fun. I've yet to see Jamar Chase play a ball game when he's kind of frowning. It's like, why is he always having fun? Because the game is easy. It's happening so easy for him, and he's becoming productive. So me personally, we got to communicate. We got to, number one, try to get pressure on Joe Burrow. If the quarterback is not comfortable, he won't be able to go through his progressions to hit Jamar Chase. Let's touch the quarterback up, and then we're going to touch the wide receiver up as well and make it a physical game. But if you give him a one-on-one opportunity, you know exactly where the ball is going. Joe Burrow will target number one, and 9 times out of 10, he's going to come down with those said targets.
Well, JoJo, for Jamar Chase, I'm going to call that a compliment that B-Mac doesn't want to cover him. How about that?
No question.
All right, well, we appreciate the insight, guys. Thank you so much. And get more from our 2-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden, and 8-time Pro Bowler, Patrick Peterson, in the All Things Covered podcast. Our guys, they're talking the biggest topics on and off the field. Make sure you download and subscribe and follow today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.